The Golden State Warriors have a legitimate shot at winning the 2022 NBA championship. From the Nets keeping their big three and adding depth, to the Lakers getting Russell Westbrook and depth, that's all NBA fans are talking about, the anticipated finals matchup. And I don't think the Warriors are getting enough credit as they should be, and a lot of fans are underrating the Warriors. I believe they have a legitimate shot at winning the 2022 NBA championship. Let me tell you exactly why. If you tell me that the Nets and Lakers are going to be in the finals, that is perfectly fine, because I would agree. I think those are the best two teams in the league, but nothing is set in stone. I believe that the Bucks, Clippers when healthy, and Warriors are next up. A lot of people fail to put the Warriors in that conversation, and I don't think enough people realize how good of an offseason the Warriors had. First of all, they extended Steph Curry, which is always a good thing. They drafted Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody and signed Nemanja Bjelica, Andre Iguodala, and Otto Porter Jr. They didn't make any groundbreaking moves, but they made a lot of smart decisions. The impressive thing is that the only notable players that the Warriors lost were Kelly Oubre and Eric Paschall. That's a really good offseason. They have a really deep roster, and this offseason did nothing but help with that. Here's the roster of a fully healthy Golden State Warriors team. Steph Curry at the 1, Klay Thompson at the 2, Andrew Wiggins at the 3, Draymond Green at the 4, and Wiseman at the 5. They have a bench of Jordan Poole, Kuminga, Moody, Kevon Looney, Iguodala, Toscano Anderson, Nemanja Bjelica, and Otto Porter Jr. That is a very deep team. I expect Steph Curry to have a similar year to his season last year. I would argue he had the best regular season last year, and I think he's going to do the same thing. Klay Thompson won't be back to start the season, but he will return somewhere around January. The thing with Klay is that we don't know exactly what he's going to look like. We haven't seen him play in over 2 years. When he comes back, I think he's going to be 90 to 95% as good since we last saw him. He will be shooting the lights out. His game relies on shooting and not athleticism, which only helps his case. When you're injured, the first thing you can practice is your shooting. That's what he is able to practice the most. So I think he might come back as a slightly better shooter than he was before. From 2015 to 2019, Klay Thompson shot 44% on catch and shoot threes. To think that he might get slightly better than that is just insane. The Warriors really struggled with spacing and the lack of shooting, and Klay Thompson is the best guy to help with that. On the defensive side of the ball, I think he's going to regress a little bit. I don't think he's going to make an all-defensive team like he did in 2019, but he will still be a really good wing defender. Draymond Green was 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year voting last year, and with real championship hopes, I think he will get slightly better offensively. Andrew Wiggins had arguably his best season last year and was a great defender. It's his second full year with the team, so he will fit better with the team, and he's still a young, improving player. Jordan Poole has been one of the most underrated players in the league, but now I think people realize how good he really is. He could be a 6th Man of the Year candidate and is a great scorer off the bench. Wiseman is a very raw player that has another season to develop. He is only going to get better, and he has the tools to do it. With leaders like Draymond Green to help him out, and one of the best developmental staff in the league, Wiseman is due for a good season. Kuminga and Moody are both players that have the ability to have a big role on a rebuilding team, but on the Warriors, they aren't going to be asked to do a lot. This shows how much depth the Warriors have, and there is less pressure on the rookies. Otto Porter Jr. averaged 14, 6, and 2 on 47, 44, 81 shooting splits the last time he was somewhat healthy. That was back in 2018. The only question is his health. When healthy, he can be a knockdown 3-point shooter and a good defender. Andre Iguodala is back on the team, but I realistically don't think he's going to be that good. He fits perfectly with the team, is great in the locker room, but on the court, he isn't going to give you as much as he used to. The Warriors also have other good players like Kevon Looney, Nemanja Bjelica, Toscano Anderson, and Damian Lee. The Warriors have a lot of young players, and their success heavily impacts the team's success. One thing that makes me so optimistic about these players is that the Warriors have one of the best developmental staff in the league. They have developed the big three of Curry, Klay, and Draymond and let them reach their full potential. Jordan Poole was drafted 28th overall in the 2019 draft, and now he might be a 6th Man of the Year candidate. As soon as Andrew Wiggins got there, he had the best season of his career and became a lockdown wing defender. Juan Toscano Anderson went undrafted, and now he's a solid role player. The young players on this team are in great hands, and I think every single young player on the Warriors is going to make a jump. One thing I am skeptical about the Warriors is injuries. Klay Thompson hasn't played a game since the 2019 NBA Finals. Otto Porter Jr. hasn't had a fully healthy season since 2018. Nemanja Bjelica only played 37 games last season. James Wiseman is dealing with an injury right now and dealt with injuries last season. The Warriors are relying on these players to have a good season in order to be successful, especially Klay Thompson. Most of these players will come back from injury and play well, but you can't expect them all to have fully healthy seasons. In order for the Warriors to win the 2022 NBA championship, there are things that have to go their way, and the health of the team is one of those things. In the past, whenever Klay Thompson and Steph Curry were on the court together, it was a nightmare for the other team. You have Klay Thompson, which is one of the best shooters in NBA history, paired with the best shooter in NBA history in Steph Curry. These two players could not get a split second of space, or else they will make the other team pay. With an offense heavy on ball movement and getting players open, it takes it to a whole other level. Even if Klay comes back and he isn't 100%, he will still take and make tough shots. The sheer presence of him being there helps the team a lot. He would help Steph out a lot because he doesn't need to be double and triple teamed every single night. Especially in the playing games, you could tell that the other teams were just dialed in on Steph Curry and tried to make the other players win the game. With Klay back, that won't be the case. We all know that the Warriors are a really good team, but some people still don't think they can win the championship this season. They are built very well, but they still don't compare to the talent of the other teams. The Nets have 3 top 15 players in the NBA, with depth on top of that. The Lakers have LeBron, AD, and Westbrook, with depth on top of that as well. There are some other teams that you can argue have more talent than them as well. That's why things need to go their way in order to win the championship. I truly don't mean to take away from these teams, but last season, things had to go their way for the Bucks to win the championship. In 2019, things had to go their way for the Raptors to win the championship. Even in 2015 and 2016, things had to happen for the Warriors and Cavaliers in order for them to win. The Warriors this season need their players to be at their best form without any injuries, and they can have a legitimate shot at winning the championship. The Warriors have been a really unlucky team for the past 3 seasons, and they are motivated to win now. I think they will have an impressive comeback year. I expect them to make a deep playoff run and will shock many people. They have a legitimate shot at winning the championship. We just have to wait and see. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like as it helps me a lot. I read every single comment, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe for future basketball content, and thank you for watching.